Evening, Motzei Shabbos, and on Sunday, indeed, we mark and celebrate Yom Yerushalayim, the fourth Yom, as some people like to call it. And indeed, please join us on Sunday morning for the Shacharis at 8:30, and following the service, we're going to have a l'chaim. So it's actually the 55th anniversary, and this date commemorates both the reunification of Jerusalem and the establishment of Israeli control over the old city following the Six-Day War. And of course, this was of vital importance in getting access to the Kotel. So under the 1947 United Partition Plan for Palestine, there was proposed establishment of two states in the British Mandatory Palestine. Jerusalem was to be the international city, neither Jewish or Arab, for a period of 10 years, at which point there'll be a referendum held by Jerusalem residents. And the Jewish leadership accepted this proposal, but the Arabs rejected it. So on May the 16th, 1948, the day after Israel declared the independence, it was attacked by its Arab neighbors, and Jordan seized East Jerusalem and the Old City. And by the end of the 1948 Arab-Israeli War, Jerusalem was left divided, and the Jewish residents were forced out. And many of the shuls in the Old City were destroyed, and the Jewish cemetery on the Mount of Olives was desecrated. So in 1967, as a result of the Six-Day War, Israel captured the Old City. Israel had sent a message to King Hussein saying Israel would not attack Jerusalem or indeed the West Bank as long as the Jordanian front remained quiet. And urged by the Egyptian pressure and based on deceptive intelligence, Jordan began shelling civilian locations in Israel, to which Israel responded by opening the Eastern Front. So on May the 12th, 1968, the Israeli government proclaimed a new holiday, and in 1998, it became a national holiday. So at the conclusion of our Sidurim, we say next year in Yerushalayim, and this perhaps gives one a feeling of nostalgia and longing to be there. And of course, there are many other examples in our Tefillah, Shacharis, Mincha, and Maariv, where Yerushalayim or Zion are mentioned with beautiful poetry. And also, of course, Yerushalayim is mentioned frequently in our Tehillim, that we also say in our Tefillah. So when David's going to daven L'Chadodi, it draws upon the sanctuary of a king who is Hashem, royal city, in the context of the messianic redemption, and challenges us to build a better world. Interestingly enough, Jerusalem is not explicitly mentioned in the Torah. So just taking a couple of examples, in the Shacharis weekday service, we say Psalm 147, the Lord rebuilds Jerusalem, and following Psalm 150, blessed from Zion be the Lord who dwells in Jerusalem. In the Armida, the Shemoni Ezra, the 18th blessing, to Jerusalem, your city, may you return in compassion, and may you dwell in it as you promised, and may you rebuild it rapidly in our days as an everlasting structure, and install within it soon the throne of David. Blessed are you, O Lord, who builds Jerusalem. When the Torah is removed from the Aron Kodesh, Ki Mitzion to say Torah, Uvdavar Hashem mit Jerusalem, for the Torah shall come forth from Zion, and the word of the Lord from Jerusalem. Of course, after grace after meals, Shir HaMa'alot on Shabbat, and Yom Tovim, we hope a return to Zion following redemption. Then follows the Bakat Hasmaon, the third blessing for Yerushalayim, Bakat Bonei Yerushalayim. And on Shabbat evenings, the Meirot, Stur Mashalo, Zion's city full again after the temple is rebuilt. And there are many references to returning to Zion and the rebuilding of the walls of Yerushalayim. And also in the Kedusha for Yom Tov Shacharis, may you be exalted and sanctified in the midst, Jerusalem, your city from generation to generation forevermore. And of course, in the Sheva Brachot as well, and also if you're in Avlut as well. Interestingly enough, the word Jerusalem appears in the Tanakh 669 times and Zion 154. So in the Pirkei Avot, which we've been studying with the Rabbi over the last month, it mentions the sage Yosei ben Yochanan of Yerushalayim, who was the Chief Justice of the Sanhedrin in the 2nd century. Another rabbi, Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai, escaped from Yerushalayim to successfully intercede with the Roman authorities and establish a new center of Torah study in Yavna. He said, Hashem said, I will not yet enter Yerushalayim shel Mahalah, the heavenly Yerushalayim, until I have entered Yerushalayim shel Matah, the earthly Yerushalayim. And in Psalm 122, Mincha Shabbat, it states, Jerusalem built as a city joined together in order to possess Yerushalayim. We must be worthy of it, and the earthly Jerusalem must reflect the heavenly one. And this psalm was broadcast on the 3rd day of the 6-day war, and it is also recited by those in exile, dreaming of return and thinking of the people walking to Jerusalem. Jerusalem has had an extraordinarily rich, difficult and varied history, and archaeological evidence suggests the first settlement was established near Gabon between 4,500 and 3,500 BCE, and the first known mention of the city was circa 2000 BCE, when it appears in text, which the city was recorded as Rushalim Yem. So by 1700 BCE, the Canaanites had built massive walls to protect their ancient water system, and by 1500 to 1400 BCE, Jerusalem had become a vassal to Egypt. The power of the Egyptians declined in the 12th century, as Jerusalem was actually known as Jebus, and Melech David captured the city, as we know, defeating the Jebusites. And of course, King Solomon built the substantive Beis Hamikdash. The city has actually been attacked 52 times, captured and recaptured 44 times, besieged 23 times, and destroyed twice. So in 2016, actually, I was very fortunate to visit Jerusalem, specifically for the Jerusalem Foundation's 50th anniversary. And this foundation was established by Mayor Teddy Kollek, together with friends and business associates and donors. Interestingly enough, the sons and daughters of the founders of the foundation, and now the 3rd generation, have continued the family tradition. There are many countries that have their own committees and fundraising projects. The foundation has invested more than $1.5 billion in projects throughout the city, around 4,000 initiatives for all ages and ethnicity, from helping Arab women receive training, Haredi teenage boys skilling them for a profession, startup businesses, and boys who are at risk having football programs, their learning programs for workforce development for Palestinian women, Holocaust survivor programs, youth centers, sports centers, programs for Soviet Jewry. There's the Hasdana Music Conservatory, which is being rebuilt, art projects, financial and literacy courses for young Haredi women. So new capital projects in the next 8 years are the best Hashanat for homeless, youth treatment and prevention, and they're going to build a museum for Islamic art. The East Jerusalem parks are going to be developed with actual sports and fitness centers. They're building a new elderly day center for North Jerusalem, and also a special bike and promenade in East Jerusalem, which is going to be roughly about 43 kilometers. And a new display area beneath the citadel and a botanical garden. So some of us look to returning to Eretz Israel, but particularly to Jerusalem. And we ask that Israel and particularly Jerusalem, peace shall reign. And we think of Naomi Shemer's song, Jerusalem Shel Zahav, at this time. Shabbat Shalom and Yom Yerushalayim Sameach.
Wow, what a lot of research you did for that one.
Yeah.
Shakaf, Rochelle, Shakaf.
Thank you very much.
Oh, yeah. Fantastic. That was really good. I was going to ask you a question, but I'm not going to because it's actually a question I was going to, well, I should put it to everybody, but it's quite an interesting question, which is, I don't know if you did this in your research, so I never found the answer to this. And that I noticed that it's Kof Ches Iyar, the 28th of Iyar, that we keep the thing. But that was actually only the third of the 6-day war, third day of the 6-day war. So if anybody can give an answer to this, why do we choose the third day? Why? Why the third day? Why not the end or the beginning of the war? No, the third day. So maybe that was the day they captured the Kotel. I don't know.
I think so. It could be. Yes, I think
could
so.
be. It could be. But that's conjecture.
Yes.
I mean, I'd like to get an answer there. It was just something that was on my mind. But it's a great research. And I also noted that I received an email this morning, and we also on the WhatsApp. Where did you go to? You went to you and Howard?
That's right. On Wednesday, we went to the food bank. That's right.
Oh, thank you very, very much for your Devar Torah, a fantastic Devar Torah. It was marvelous, and a big shkoch to you.
Thank you very much.
I'm now going to ask David. Yes, David is here now, and David, I hope you're well. How's sunny Bournemouth? How's sunny Bournemouth?
Yes, I better unmute myself, I suppose. Yeah, it's fine, lovely, great. Yes.
Okay, shall we get going?
Why not? Some of us, of course, have got to get going. So
me too. So
yes, that's right.
We all do. So go on, take over, David.
Okay.
Can you give the page that it is on in the you did Nefesh in the Chief Rabbi's Siddur? Do you know what page it's on? Anybody? Page in the Chief Rabbi Siddur. Hello, Vivian. Nice to see you.
Oh.
Lovely to see you. Anybody know what page it's on in the Chief Rabbi Siddur? Give the page. No? Okay, let me just find it on the Chief Rabbi Siddur.
Page 5-6, Rabbi.
What did you say?
256, Rabbi.
256. Okay, 256.
Right, we start.
If you're following in there, go on, David. Take it.
Okay. Di nefesh avarachamam meshach avdecha el rotzonecha yarutz avdecha kemo ayal yishtachavel muchadarecha Yeravla yuduitecha minofet stov v'cholta Hadurna zivalam nafshicha latavatecha Anael narafana la varod la noam zivacha As titchazek v'titrafei v'hayeta la simchat olam Tatig yemuna rachamecha v'chuz hana beinahu v'cha Ki zekama nichsafti Lerab tiferet uzecha Eila Hamda Libi V'chusana V'altitalam Yigalena Ufros Chavivi Alai Esu Shalomecha Ta'eret Michodecha Nagila V'nismecha Bach Ma'erev kiva moed, l'choneinu kimei olam. Nine 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 nine, bum 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 bye. Nine 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 nine, dee dee dee. Ram bum bum bye, yada nine 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 nine, tada nine 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 nine, yada nine nine nine, tada nine 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 nine, yada nine 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 nine, tada nine 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 nine, yada nine nine nine, tada nine 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 nine, yada nine 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 nine, yada nine 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 nine, bum bum bum, yai nine 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 nine. Yamba nine nine nine, Saturday nine nine, nine nine nine, nine 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 nine, nine 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 nine, nine 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 nine, nine nine nine, Saturday nine nine nine, Saturday nine nine nine, bum bum yai, Saturday nine 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 nine. Lechun ranal Adonai, Naria letzor Yishaynu, Kadma panav b'toda, Bizmirot Naria lo. 40 שנה כובדר, וממתו אלי ובהם, לא ידעו דרכי, אשר משפטי ביפי, הם יבואו למנוחתי, שיר אדוני שיר חדש. Yadinamim shesh doshmagim atagel yavum Adonai kiva lishpot haaretz yishpot tevel b'tzedek v'yamim b'emunato Adonai malach tagel haaretz. כי אתה ואדוני סינורה שומע נפשו חסידיו מיד רשעים יצילם עזרו על הצדיק ולישרי ושמחה שמחו צדיקים באדוני והודו לזכר קודשו לשלב נשך חדש. ויאמו מלאו תבל ויושביו נרתיך כוכב יחד הרים ירננו לפני אדוני קיווה לשפוט הארץ ישפוט תבל בצדק וימים במישרים Adonai malach yigzamim yoshe purim tavid aretz. Kadosh hu moshe karshmam karim adno yenem udanam yidaber aleim sham veidotav v'chok natan lamo Adonai Eloheinu ata nitam and say I am gonna came ala lilotan Ramamu Adonai Eloheinu Ishtachavu lehar kodsho Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu Bizmor leDavid Avul Adonai b'nei Elim Avul Adonai Kavod V'Oz Yain Nain Nai Avul Adonai Kavod Shemo Yishtachavu Adonai B'Hadrat Kodesh Kol Adonai Al Hamayim Le'Hakavod Adonai Hamayim Rabbi Kol Adonai Bakoach yainai kol Adonai be'ada kol Adonai shover arazim vayishaber Adonai et arzei alevanom v'yarkidem kamo egel levano v'sirion Kamo venre mim nine kol Adonai chotzef la'avotesh kol Adonai yachil midbar yachil Adonai midbar kadesh kol Adonai yacholei layalot vayechesof yeyarot ובהיכלו כולו אומר כבוד ני אדוני למה בו ישב אדוני מלך לעולם אדוני עוז לעמו ייתן אדוני יברך את עמו ושלום Lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad, Ishmi'anu elam yuchad, Adonai echad, u'shemo echad, l'shem ol tiferet v'litila. Lecha dodi likra kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likra kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nei lecha, ki makor ha'baracha me'rosh mikadem nesucha, sub maseh machshava tefila. Lecha dodi likra kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likra kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Migdash melech ir melucha, u'mitzayim mitoch afecha, rav lach shevet b'yemek hapacha, u'yavmol alayichem ba. Lecha dodi likra kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likra kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Idnari me'afarkumi, livshi b'dei tifartei ami, al yad ben Yishai beit alachmi, korva el nafshi geyala. Lecha dodi likra kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likra kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Orari, kivarei kumiori, uri, shirdabeiri, kavod Adonai alayik nikla. Lecha dodi lecha dodi likra kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likra kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lo tevoshi v'lo tikomi, ma tishtotaki u'matemi, bak yatsu ani eyami, v'nimta ir al tila, lecha dodi likra kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likra kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. V'hayulim shisa ashosayich, rachaku kol mevalayich, yasis alayich Elohayich, Kimsot Chatana Kala Lecha Dodi Yam Bamarambam Likrakala Lecha Dodi Likraka B'nai Shabbat Nakabla Ay Yaminus Monte Fratzi Be'et Adonai Taritzi Al Yadish Ben Parti B'nismecha V'nagila Ay Yam Bamaram Lecha Dodi Yananai Likrakala Yan 99999 Baram Baran 999 B'nei Shabbat Nekabala Oiv Shalom Ateret Bala Gam B'Simcha U'Vetzola Toch Emunei Yam Segula Bo'i Chala Yan 999 Lecha Dodi Yam Baram Balik Kala Lachadodi Likraka B'nai Shabbat Nekabala.
Shkoyach! Well done. Well done. Shkoyach, thank you very much. Shall we finish off with Yigdal? Or have you got time for anything else?
Well, no, I've got to go to shul, so.
Okay, right. Me too. So just want to wish everybody Shabbat Shalom. Let's do Yigdal then, shall we?
Yep. Straight,
Hey,
we'll go straight. Okay.
Hey.
Yigdal Elohim Chai v'yishapach nimtza v'yeinai dom tziyoto echad v'yachid keyichudo nelom kamein sof liyaduto ein lo demutagov v'yeino gov lo na'rochel kedushato kadmon chol davar asher nivra rishon v'yen reshit l'reshito kino adon olam l'chol notzar Yoregulato Malchutano Elanchei Gulato V'tiftaruto Lokam Israel Kan Moshe Od Naviu Ma'abit Temunato Toratem Met Natam Ni'amoel Al Yab Nevi'o Neman Beito Lo Yachal Yisrael V'lo Yamir Dato Lo Lamim L'Zulato Sofer V'Yodea Tzitareinu Mabit Zof Davar B'kat Mato Gomel Yish Chesed Kemifalo Notain L'Rosh Hara Kerishato Yishlach L'Keit Shamim Meshicheinu Lift up Mechakeket Yeshuato Made him Israel Baruch Chasto Baruch Adei HaShem Tehilato Made him Yechael Baruch Chasto Baruch Adei HaShem Tehilato. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, Shekoya.
Shalom.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shalom.
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 Thank
Shalom.
you, Rabbi. Thank you, David, and thank you, Rochelle.
Thank you
Shabbat
very
Shalom.
much. Shabbat Shalom.